time and for joining us as peace talks continue, or at least talk of peace continues. We will continue to bring you all of those updates as we get them. But we move on now, and tensions are running high in Taiwan ahead of a key vote this weekend that could shift the balance of power in the island's legislature. Voters will decide whether to recall 24 lawmakers from the China-friendly opposition Nationalist Party, also known as the KMT, a move pushed by supporters of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, also known as the DPP. The recall efforts comes amid growing frustration over legislative gridlock and concerns that the KMT is blocking defence funding while maintaining warm ties with Beijing. The DPP won the presidency last year but fell short of a legislative majority. If these recalls succeed, special elections could follow, giving the DPP a chance to tip the scales in Parliament. But the KMT is pushing back hard, calling the move a political power grab and a threat to Taiwan's multi-party democracy. China, meanwhile, has dismissed the whole process, calling it futile against what it claims is the inevitable reunification of Taiwan with the mainland. We'll listen now to some of the protesters who are on the ground.
就是有看到说国民党删预算那些的，我觉得有点夸张，有点甚至到他们怎么当上这个工作的程度，然后还有各式各样的，也会有这个也有对我的工作有点影响，所以就觉得说应该要支持。
我觉得不希望再一次上卡掉，对，然后希望是今天大家出来的话都可以投同意，不管你是投同意不同意，但是就是要出来投票，因为这个是投票是我们民主的权利。
Well, joining us is Ross Feingold, a political analyst from Taipei in Taiwan, to discuss this further. Ross, it's difficult for us to summarise the situation in just a short read there. So could you provide some context for us, please, on what this situation is and how important it could be, of course, in the face of questions from China about reunification and also intense and continuous drills from around the island from China as well?
The frustration for the Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, which controls the presidency and the executive branch of government, is that they only have a minority in Taiwan's legislative yuan, or the parliament. And the majority is a combination of other political parties and independents. So ever since the president took office in May of 2024, his relationship with the opposition-led legislature has been terrible. The opposition-led legislature has passed a number of laws to try and expand their own power of oversight over the executive branch. Some of those powers were invalidated by Taiwan's constitutional court. And the opposition-led legislature has also frozen parts of government department budgets, which has also led to frustration by the executive branch. And civil society organizations allied with the DPP brought forward these recall elections. They were able to qualify 24 opposition party legislators to face recall elections. Another 7 opposition legislators will face a recall on August 23rd. So we actually have 2 different voting days and a total of 31 legislators who are facing the potential recall. If the recall is successful, then there'd have to be a by-election within 3 months. And it's possible that if this is successful, that the DPP could take a majority in the legislature. But that's very speculative. One thing very important to keep in mind is that the threshold to successfully recall a legislator is very high. The yes vote has to be at least 25% of the eligible voters in the constituency, and it has to be greater than the no vote, of course. So this threshold of 25% agreeing to the recall is very high to reach.
Yes, Ross, China calling all of this futile ahead of what they say is an inevitable reunification. But do you think this will be something China is welcoming, given that there could be further instability in Taiwan and potentially a change in government?
Spokespeople for the Chinese government agencies that oversee relations with Taiwan, as well as the state media in China, they've criticized the recall because they see it as an attempt by President Li's DPP to take control of the legislative branch of government as well, and then give them power over the executive branch and the legislative branch. So actually, China has criticized the recall, which has resulted in some negative attention for the KMT, because one of the other justifications for the recall is people say that the KMT is too accommodating towards China. And then you have China officials and media saying that the recall is bad. So that's actually become a talking point for the people in support of the recall, to say, you see, China is against the recall. They must really be too close to the KMT legislators, thus they need to be recalled.
Ross, thank you ever so much for that insight. We will, of course, continue to monitor it. You also will be staying with us as we move on now.